What's up, everyone? Welcome to the NightShifters podcast. My name is Crystal, and I am here with Chris Justice and Dion Rocko Williams, and we're going to talk to you about NASCAR all night.
Yes, we are. Get her done. Come on, man. What's your
Boogity, boogity,
boogity,
boogity.
Oh, no, not that. All right. Anyways.
Thanks for having us, Crystal.
No,
on
thank
this
you.
show. Hey, no. Not thanks for having us. This is our show, right?
Yes, our
Thanks
show.
for putting it together.
Yep.
Doing all the legwork.
Yeah.
Episode 0. I'm feeling
Zero.
good.
This has been ongoing ongoing in my mind since February. And so it's nice to actually see everybody here, and it's real.
It's needed. Why?
Yeah.
Why is this needed?
I think that there are a lot of people that I bump into in the garage, and I feel like there's also people that don't have eyes on the sport. So in order to link those two together, I feel like there needs to be a lot of the guys that I know with the expertise talking to the people that would probably not give NASCAR a chance unless I brought them in or they see something and hear something from somebody like you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's real talk right there, because this guy brought me in, and I had the same impression. Like, what am I going to do in NASCAR?
Well, first of all, let's go back because we're not used to even talking about NASCAR.
No.
Like, mind you, just like Crystal, and let's let our audience know we're not race fans.
No.
We're race fans now, but we didn't grow up watching racing.
No.
I grew up in Stone Mountain, Georgia, 30 minutes from Atlanta Motor Speedway. I didn't know that track existed. It was Braves, Hawks, Falcons. That's all we cared about. You know, nobody looked like us. Parents didn't watch it.
No.
You know, and it was not on your radar, but at the same time, once we got in there and saw the lick opportunities,
Man, the
it
potential was
I mean, your chops start
world.
licking.
Yes.
The what?
The chops. The chops.
It was a
licking.
lick, you know, for us, because, you know, we're football players. I
Yeah.
was at that time, what was that, 2004? It was my first year. I'm aging myself. I'm older than I look. But long
Black don't
story
crack.
short, that was 2004. I was 240 pounds. I had a 36-inch vertical. I was benching 225, 25 plus times. I ran a 4.5 40, competing against guys who never worked out. They were great mechanics, never been under pressure, didn't work out, smoking cigarettes, but they had to perform an athletic movement. And I think that's what I mean by licking my chops, right?
No, exactly. We came in as primo athletes. You know, I too played football. We was actually teammates.
We were teammates at Go Deeks, Wake Forest,
Wake
Deacons,
Forest.
baby.
So you have that mentality of that competitiveness
Yes.
that we brought to the table.
Yes.
That wasn't there.
Yes.
You know, so
So my thing is, tell everybody how you actually got into NASCAR, because I also think that there's a misconception. We always hear the side of the story where it's like NASCAR is racist. It's, you know, they don't want us there. But there's also a very key aspect on our end where it's like, oh, we don't do that. That's
Well,
not our thing.
I think you don't know what you don't know. So those are great assumptions when you have a racetrack that way. I mean, the Confederate flag was still flying back
Yeah,
then.
that's
Remind
true.
you, I started in 2004, and I grew up in Georgia, Stone Mountain. So I'm a very woke individual at the time. I went to Wake Forest University. We went to Wake Forest University. The majority of the African Americans on the campus were only the football players or the basketball players. We were a minority then. So, you know, I grew up overseas. You know, Chris had his set of experience to the point where being the minority was not the issue. What got us to NASCAR was not only avoidance of real work and opportunity, you know, it was an opportunity to travel the road less traveled by. You know, you're a dime a dozen as a football player. Everybody looked like us coming out of college, you know, and when you're trying out free agent, and everybody looks like us. But, you know, when we came into NASCAR, you know, at that time, nobody.
listen, the grass was tall.
Nobody. You felt like a chocolate chip in a bowl of ice cream.
Yes, the grass was tall. The
Yes.
path was very rocky.
And at the same time, you know, that was motivating because at the end of the day, you saw opportunity there. You saw an opportunity where you had you were able, where if we would have went to the NFL, we would have been, you know, C grade, B listers, you know, whatever. Maybe not even that, you know. But when we came into NASCAR, we were down Ray Lewis and Deion Sanders. I mean,
We
we were
to the top.
Nobody was messing with us. So that was pretty cool to be a part of. And it was a bit of luck, but at the same time, I had the type of personality where, I was more drawn to the creativity and the opportunity. As I say, I like to stand out and I like to make an impact. So that really, once I saw the competition side of NASCAR and the opportunity there, it was like America's best kept secret to me. Because I was like, man, I wouldn't have even maybe played football if I would have known these opportunities. I would have been like a mechanic, or I would have went mechanical engineering, aerodynamicist, physics, and I could have been making six figures at 19 years old. Not putting my body in this situation at this time. I had no idea these opportunities were out there. I didn't know about logistics, marketing, what it takes. This is a Super Bowl every single year, every single race we go to, 36 cities, from February to November, those cities. You don't know that growing up the way we grow up.
Yeah.
But now that's
changing.
changing.
Was ESPN, cereal boxes, and they turn left. That's all I knew.
I knew Jeff Gordon.
I was about to say,
I knew the racing
Jeff
jackets
Gordon.
because I had
Jeff
to stay
Gordon,
fresh.
that's all I knew.
Yeah, those racing jackets.
They sold a lot of racing jackets.
Yes.
And nobody knew what the track
Didn't
was.
even know who the drivers were except for Jeff Gordon.
Jeff Gordon, that's all. I grew up in California, so I'm not as old as you guys, but I just remember seeing Jeff Gordon on an advertisement. It may have just
Everywhere.
been like he.
Well, imagine how I
Part
feel.
of-
Imagine how it made me feel when I
Yeah.
started working for Jeff Gordon. To be a tire carrier for Jeff Gordon at that time, because I didn't start off with Jeff Gordon. It started out with Sterling Marlin. They put me on all the terrible teams where it was guys their last hurrah. That's how you gained your experience. That's how you cut your teeth.
Yeah.
Sterling Marlin got in a little debacle, because long story short, we're football players. We're coming in with no guidelines. There's no rule books to this. We're thinking it's like camaraderie,
Listen.
and we're learning the hard way.
There was no
when we
manual.
were young, dude.
There was no manuals. No manuals of this.
So you remember young Rocko? You remember?
Yes, I do.
Who was young Rocko?
I'm just saying, there were no mentors. There was nobody showing us beforehand who were like us, other black men like us in the sport. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. You learn by trial and freaking error.
It was a lot of trial and error. Here I am wrapping up year 18, and I didn't think I was going to make it past year 3.
Wow.
Right? The waters were rough. But, you get people that bring you in, they take you under their wing, they start to show you little things, right? And you build from there.
Yep.
And like you said, you take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves, right? So every day was different. Every week was different. Every team was different. And you just kept building and building and building,
Yep.
right? So he got his shot with Gordon. I got my shot to go work at Stuart Haas, right? And so all those little teams that I worked on, I learned something. I took something from them that made me valuable here at Stuart Haas.
A lot of little crumbs on the plate, right?
It makes it whole.
Because you don't just end up at Stuart Haas. Stuart Haas is your Sunday. That's your creme de la creme. That's a cup team, a premier team.
Yeah.
So when we start off, there was a time we were doing ARCA races, Hooters races, Xfinity races, truck races.
Listen, all weekend you was
Chris,
Friday, Saturday.
There was a time where you moved to Las Vegas and
moved.
followed a race team. I did not see this dude for like 3, 4, 5. How many years
I
were
moved
you
to
out here in
Vegas to
Vegas?
work with
Brendan
Brendan Gaughan's
Gaughan,
team.
right?
Yes, yep.
Like, who does that? Well, what black people you know at that time would say, hey, move to North Carolina to go work for a race team?
No, thank you.
Yeah. This
I
dude
went
moved
clear
across
across.
country and relocated his whole life in Las Vegas and learned what he had to learn to put him in that position. And you don't have those opportunities where you're just a dime a dozen.
Yeah.
They just don't present themselves, but you're able to stand out so much to create separation with your work ethic that you had prior, where it's almost like a cheat sheet, when you come into a game like this. And it sets a lot of precedents, and it makes it easier to get the next group in, if that makes sense.
That does.
And they're willing to listen to you. You get those group of guys that come in,
Yep.
and they're
Sounds-
sponges.
It
What
sounds
is it
like a
that makes
recording
them-
moment.
Oh, recording moment.
Oh, yeah, when I want to record, I'll just switch these glasses because
What?
Mr. Tech here.
these are, some pretty cool special glasses. But when they come on, boop, boop, now we're streaming, we're recording, and, we're dropping bombs here, so I want to make sure I record, the right way. So, yeah,
Oh
we're
my
live right now. When you
God.
see these, it's recording you.
That's right.
So,
Wow.
where are we at now? What's the next question?
Well, just a brief description of what you do now. Now, that's been 18 years, and obviously you said you didn't think that you were going to be there past 3 years.
Right,
When you
right,
look
exactly,
back, like, what are you
exactly.
doing now?
So I started out as a pit crew guy through the diversity program. I was a tire carrier. I was a jack man. I even did the catch can back when that was a thing, right? Tire specialist.
How many guys were over the wall then when we started?
Seven.
Seven. With the catch can.
With the catch can. Then they dumped the catch can. It was down to 6, right? So I did that, and then now I am at Storehouse as the trackside IT support guy.
Yep.
So I support anything or anybody that has a power plug or is a part of our group. So that's from sponsors to RV guys to my own teams. 4 teams, well 6 teams if you include our 2 Xfinity programs. So
It's impressive.
it's impressive. It's a lot of people every weekend.
And now over here, Mr. Influencer.
I was taking pictures when I do that. I only get a minute video, but yeah, that was good.
Influencer. What are your other 10 jobs?
Well, first of all, my primary job was to be the best tire carrier in the world, which I felt like I was successful for about 8 years. Well, every year I was with Jeff, because at the end of the day, it's a privilege to pit for a guy like Jeff Gordon. And let me make sure I'm recording this because Jeff might hear this, So at the end of the day,
Jeff, if you're listening.
yeah, it's a privilege to pit for a guy like Jeff Gordon because any single race he enters, he has an opportunity to win. And the reason why he doesn't win, if that's any inkling of a reason because of something that you had to deal with, that is an honor. That's a great privilege to be in that position because I was on those teams when you were just happy to finish on a lead lap, Chris.
Listen, I was happy at some time to finish 25th.
Exactly.
Right? That was a win on the lead lap.
And a
Just a
blessing.
finish.
But it was a blessing in its own disguise because when you're not on the lead lap, that means you pit the second time by. So when you're pitting a race car, everybody gets to watch you. So it's showtime. And when you're on those lesser teams, that's your best opportunity to let everybody know you are a dog. And that's how you get those opportunities with the other teams.
Every stop is a resume builder. Every stop's an interview, like you said, because everybody's watching you.
Yep.
So
Everybody's watching you. So long story short, Jeff Gordon, learning from Jeff. Yeah, I won at this race, at this track alone, like 2-3 times, and then Chase Elliott and Mark Martin. I know you. How many times did you win at this racetrack alone?
See, I was part of Harvick's 3-4 in a row, and then I have one with Chase Briscoe here.
Yep.
So I have the old
3 in a
configuration
row.
wins, 3-4 in a row, and then I have a new configuration win.
Let me explain that real quick and get that.
Please,
Let me
please.
record the new
God.
configuration from
We're
the
not
old
gonna-
configuration. That's a big deal.
It is a big
Because
deal.
in the old configuration, we were dogs. Alan Gustafson, he had that car dialed in with Chase Elliott, with Jeff Gordon, Mark Martin. I mean, we were dogs, and everybody knew when we showed up to Phoenix, it was going to be one of us winning, or at least in contention to win. And then they had to go and repave the track, reconfigure it, move the dog leg to give it a different personality, And long
Maybe more
story
fan friendly. Now you have the fan zone.
yes. And they did it. It worked. But long story short, in NASCAR, when you create a notebook on a racetrack and you're so dominant because you have that setup to win at that racetrack and they change up the configuration, that's like resetting your iPhone, dude.
Yeah, you lose all your contacts.
You lose all your contacts.
Let's go.
Yikes.
You ever lost all your contacts in
Yes.
your phone? It's not good for a
No.
crew chief
No.
when they redo a racetrack that they've had a lot of success at. So that's where we were with that. At the same time, with the implementation. Implementation. I didn't get that on there. Implementation, that new car, the next gen car, it's really created opportunity for the lesser teams to have an advantage, and it's made for a lot of competitive pit stops because that's the only place you can really pass on the racetrack now is with the pit crew and the continuity that they build and the ones that can perform when it matters. That's the playoffs.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because
That's where we're at right now.
Yes, that's
we
why we
are
here.
in Phoenix, everyone, for the 2023 NASCAR Championship race. So let's go ahead and just dig right into that.
Let's go.
First off, let me explain to the people who don't follow NASCAR, because I know you're out there watching. Hi, Dad. So Phoenix Raceway is a 1-mile low-bank tri-oval racetrack located in Avondale, Arizona, near Phoenix. The track opened in 1964 and currently hosts 2 NASCAR races throughout each season. So one in the fall and also the championship race since 2020. By the way, our track president, is the first African-American female track president, Latasha Causey.
And she stays lit.
Yeah,
She is super high energy.
So I absolutely love her.
Yes, she's infectious.
And yeah, she really is. In the spring, I was in the victory lane for the ARCA races, and some guy was trying to get his kid underneath the bleachers so he could go in and take pictures, and security kicked him out. And he was like, I'm going to go tell Latasha. I was like, wait a minute. These people know who Latasha is.
By
I love
first
this.
name.
No other track that I've ever been to on the circuit do people know who their track president is. And every time I see her in victory lane or even during like driver introductions, she's talking to fans, handing them stickers. Man, she's probably kissing babies, having conversations with puppies. Like, she's amazing.
And she stays with heat on the feet too.
Well,
Her shoe game.
I do notice that.
It is nice.
She's stylish. I love it.
I pay attention to that. You know?
Yes.
She's killing it.
No, she absolutely is. And I think one other thing that was kind of cool about her is that she's very down to earth about it. And I did talk to her in the spring, and I said, okay, well, what do you want people to call you? Because people know who you are. At one point, somebody came up to me and was like, Latasha. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
And it's a big responsibility to host a championship race, the final race of the season. And, we come here twice a year. And like I say, the stands are always full every time we come here,
Sold out.
And I don't think in my time, in my career, I've ever dreaded coming to Phoenix.
No, Phoenix is one of those racetracks that we have on the circuit that you enjoy going to.
Why is that so much?
The town, the atmosphere when you're here.
The energy. We're East Coaster. We're Southern boys, so we like when we come to the West Coast. Everybody likes the way we talk.
Luxury all the time.
We got different energy out here, the weather.
Right. I mean, it's 30 degrees right now at home.
Yes.
Right.
No thanks.
We don't sweat out here.
No, but you do get ashy. I don't know if you
you
noticed.
get ashy.
I'm getting ashier by the I'm getting ashier by the second over here.
They said that when I was in Vegas too. It's dry heat.
Man, it's hot out here.
Yeah, no, I don't.
But it's dry heat.
But we don't mess with humidity.
Yeah,
it messes our hair up. Although our skin is like silky smooth.
And we got mosquitoes.
Oh no, mosquitoes love me. I gotta
Those North
say,
Carolina, Georgia boys.
No, thank you.
The skaters.
Yeah, no thanks. Anyways.
Yeah, off subject.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the
Reel it
championship.
back in. That's your job.
Yes.
Come on.
So what do you enjoy most about championship weekend?
It's the vibe, the energy.
Yeah.
Everybody's like hyped up, ready to go. Even when you're not in it. Fortunately, we're not in it this year.
Sorry to hear.
But.
And it's Kevin Harvick's final race too.
Harvick's last one.
Yep.
How do you feel about that?
Listen, man, he did a lot for us.
Yeah.
He did a lot for me. The confidence, being a part of winners.
Yep.
Like he spoke about with the Jeff Gordons and the Mark Martins. When you're a part of that legacy, that forever legacy.
He's one of them.
Right? He's forever a champion. The closer. Like,
why they call him the closer for the race fans who don't know? Why do we call him a closer?
It's because the way he ends the races.
Comes in clutch.
Like there's been times where you don't hear from him the whole 3/4 of the race. He's running 15, 20th, and you're like, and then 25 to go, he's second, and he's closing out the race. That was dope.
So you go back, you look at those pictures 10 years from now, and there you are in victory lane, right? Those moments you can't recreate, obviously, and they stick with you for life, so.
Also, gosh, I almost had a moment there. I'm sorry.
You need some tissue?
I was getting a little emotional in here.
Yeah, listen.
As far as the track goes, is there anything that you enjoy more about the track, like maybe how it's structured and how the drivers can actually race on it?
Well, I had more success the old way, so I'm a little biased.
What's the old way? Explain the old way.
Can I explain the old way on how Kevin exploited it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he said he won 3 times in a row, right?
Right.
Yeah, because this was his track,
so,
right?
So,
his track.
For our non-race fans, Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think he was the one that started hitting the apron first.
Hitting the apron.
Hitting the apron before the new configuration, before they redid it. He was the only one that figured out a way to get around the track that was different than everyone else, and he set his car up that way, and no one else knew it for about 2 or 3 years, where he was just so much better than everyone.
Right,
That's pretty cool.
Right.
That's a personality of a track like Phoenix. Martinsville will have a personality like that. Tyler, every racetrack has a different personality like that. When you come to Phoenix, it's the desert. It's going to be dusty as hell out here. Pit road is going to be slick. Tires are going to be spinning. The Coke syrup might not even be enough. You got to sweep in Coke syrup, So that's one of the challenges you come here, which you get, as an athlete, you gear up for that, especially at this time because, it's tight on pit road here. You have all those challenges. I mean, this is one of the only racetracks where pit road is positioned entirely on a curve. The entire pit road is on a curve. So that's an adjustment not only for the drivers,
but
that's
pit crew.
for the pit crew as well, for the ones getting out, speeding penalties. You're going to have teams that beat themselves. You need everything to line up perfect to win a championship, and it is so hard to do that. So that's what incites me the most about coming to a place like that. This is a culmination of it all. And the dogs, they're going to be dogs. The ones that were inconsistent, they're going to be inconsistent. They're going to show themselves. And guess what? You know, it's going to be motivation for next year to be better, you know. So at the end of the day, you know, I'm looking forward to the flight home because, you know, it's been a long year for me, you know, but for them, you know, this is a big deal for the athletes on pit road, not only for the drivers, not only for the crew members, for the crew chiefs, for the engineers, for all the sponsors, for everybody who's involved with it, because, you know, this is a traveling circus from February to November, and it is a show. And I feel like, you know, NASCAR is really vibing up right now, too. So,
Yeah, we've made some
we've been
great
doing pretty
gains.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad that you brought up, like, the pit crew, because I'm going to read you two different quotes from our NBC announcers for NASCAR.
Let me put
you
these-
want to put the sunglasses on.
yeah.
All right.
So
all
we
right,
can
all
record
right.
this, you know, because, you know,
All
these
right.
are
Well,
recording as I put them on.
I want you both to hear these, and I'll tell
What we
you who
got?
said them. So this is from today. Steve Letarte said, I think there's a signature throughout the day. I don't care if they lose spots, gain spots. I don't really even care how fast they are. You watch enough pit stops, you can tell when they're easy and when they're hard. It's like a football team going down the field. You can tell when the offense is working and when it isn't, regardless of what the stats might say. So I'm going to be watching the pit stops to see who looked the most effortless for the first 3 or 4. Because as the pressure builds, the ones that were already on the edge of disaster, they'll be pushed over. The ones who've been doing it very comfortably all day long, they're just sitting back. All they want is the ball. That's the one thing that's going to make the difference in the end.
100% agree.
Steve is the baller, too. He went to Hendrick, you know.
Those teams that are on the struggle bus early are going to struggle all day, right? And those teams that are kick back, relax, and just during their dance, right? It's going to be smooth and easy.
You know what a wise man told me about pitting race cars in a championship one day?
What's that?
He said, Rocko, it's not about gaining spots on pit road. He said the best crews are going to come in and maintain. They're going to leave in the position they came in, and they're only going to gain positions when everybody else fucks up. That's what he said. He said it's impossible. He said everyone who we're competing against on the elite level is too good to beat them. The only way you're going to beat them is being the most consistent, and when they mess up, you're going to gain when
Sure,
they mess up.
opportunity. Yeah.
But you don't be the one to cause that issue.
Okay. So Dale Jr., he also commented and said, the person that comes off pit road first, the last time they plan on coming to pit road. We have this cool stat that talks about 4 tire stops, who's got the best pit crew, who's had the best stop every race. You have to pay attention to that because, you know, this moment of the season is what's going to really start to come into play. It seems like more often than not, the pit crews help decide who wins this championship.
Duh.
They might not affect every race throughout the season, but they certainly have been a big player in this one.
Until
Oh?
you shift guys around
Yep.
to try to put.
Oh, my God.
So wait, who just
Oh
did
my
that?
gosh.
Somebody just did
Well,
that.
hey,
Did it last week.
It's fine that they do it, you know, if the crew can handle it. But at the end of the day, you know, we're just
go to jail.
numbers, we're just people, whatever. Who cares about all the continuity you built up all throughout the year? Who cares about learning the driver that you learned how he comes in, how he leaves all year, and then you just want to switch it up on me when the championship is in, and I've never even pitted for this driver? Or you don't switch the whole team, you just switch out a jackman or a tire changer, then, you know, I'm not making excuses because at the end of the day, if you did that to me, I'm going to do what I need to do, and I'm going to be the guy. But at the same time, you don't have a lot of Rockos back in 2015 now. You know, you got a bunch of young, what is that, Gen Next years or whatever?
I don't know.
Gen Z?
Gen Zers or whatever, and they just
Wait,
built a little
Gen
different.
Zers are
You
old
can't-
enough to
But
be
it's
pitting
like
cars now?
it's like
Well, whatever they
bring
are.
it back to football.
Them 22-year-olds, well, you know,
Gotcha.
23-year-olds.
Your main QB goes down. Your backup, who's got 3 snaps the whole week, comes in. Speed of the game's different.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
receiver speeds are different. Now the timing's off, and that's what happens when you shift those guys around.
Absolutely.
Yep,
And then you
timing's
do
off.
that at the end of the race, it can work out really well, like it's working out for Christopher Bell right now, and how they took Ty Gibbs' pit crew, because he got eliminated from the playoffs.
Right.
And long story short, at one time, Ty Gibbs' pit crew, the 54 guys, they owned the fastest pit stop in the world at 8.54 seconds, which was recently
They did it.
beaten
Yep.
by Chase Briscoe with an
My guys.
your guys by 8.50, which is very impressive. But the average pit time for a 4-tire that you really need to live in, I think, is about 9 to 10 seconds at
Right.
the end of
That's
the day.
realistic.
And the 24 car, I think, has the fastest overall.
But those cars, pit crew's been fast all year too.
But not only that, it's also the same pit crew that's been the pit crew for that car and Jimmy Johnson's car for 10 years now?
Well, maybe so. Yeah,
So it's
yes. They've been
cohesive,
together for a while.
Like a unit.
They've been together for a while. The only team that hasn't, they all been together a while. That just, with the switch of the 54 and the 20, it's just a mixing of the drivers, difference of the drivers. But I think it's more of a disadvantage if you just switch out individual athletes from a crew as opposed to a whole crew in
Right,
particular.
because your timing's off.
Yes, so that's what benefited the switch from the 54 and the 20 was the entire crew, not
Right,
just
not just the
one
jack
piece.
man.
Like on Truex's team this past weekend, it was just the jack man and changer.
And he dropped the jack.
Well, yeah, there was issues, just because it's just stuff is just different, and it's like I say, it's easy to point fingers at the pit crew because we don't really know that. It's like special teams. You don't know their name until they mess up, and we're going to help change that because at the end of the day, these guys are doing something that not anybody else can do. It looks easy, but at the end of the day, they are changing 4 tires in under 10 seconds. And I don't know if as a civilian, if you've ever changed your tire, I mean, it probably takes you 10 seconds just to get out the car and locate the jack, much less have an organized 4-tire
And
pit
not
stop.
to mention, these cars are going 55, 60 miles an hour at times, right? And you're jumping out in front of these things, and they're going around you.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's not like
Human
these are
Frogger.
satisfied.
You're
You could never
literally
pay
a
me to jump
human
in front of a car like that.
human
Right.
speed bump out there. And then
I wouldn't
back
survive.
back in the day, dude, some drivers were better than others. At just avoiding pit crew guys. Like if I knew, and I can say this, but if I knew Rusty Wallace was pitting behind me, and I saw that before I went to the race, I made sure my insurance policy was up. I made sure I had my shoes tight because that dude is known
For
to
hitting people.
hitting people.
Right.
Especially
Wow.
when I was on the rear. We just know that type of stuff. You're like, oh damn, I got
So
Rusty behind me.
like when you know that kind of stuff, are you a little bit hesitant? How do you block that out of your mind
prepare.
to just?
You prepare like a professional athlete, and you're like, okay, I got Rusty behind me. If he ever gets near us when we're pitting together, I'm either jumping or not, but I'm going to know where he's at.
Right,
You
you're
know,
alert, you're
because
alert,
if
you're
I
alert.
get hit, we're not putting these tires on, and that's going to hurt our race. So that's just how you approach it. You're when you're in the season, you're a machine. You're not thinking about it. I talk about it in just now, but then I was ready to go fight Rusty. I'm like, yeah, I'm pitting right here, and I dare you to hit me. Because if I get out of here, I'm coming to find you, dude. And this was before I knew all my racing etiquette.
I was like, oh my gosh, like he's ready to.
This is football player Rocko. This is football. I had to learn you can't fight a driver. You just can't. You're not going to have a long career if you snatch the driver out by the neck, hang him upside down because they were all skinny. Just twist them and just throw them over the stadium and say, don't ever call me that again because I made a mistake on the radio. Don't ever belittle me on the radio because I'm trying my best for you.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that, it's road rage for these guys. These guys are risking their lives in a cage, and their lives are on the line too. And if I don't get that tire tight, there's no reprimanding me. He might die.
Yeah.
So that's what taught me the patience I needed to understand, hey, we're all common goal here. We're all competing.
We're all in this together.
Chill out, So, but that was an experience because I think your driver, boy, early on in his career,
Which one?
Which one?
Harvick,
Oh,
Wait,
Harvick.
what? All of them?
KHI Harvick, when he owned KHI and he ran the trucks and Delaney was running the shop, he was like, Kevin Harvick was no joke, yo. He was the dog of the dog. He was winning every single race. He demanded a lot from his pit crews. He was Jeff Gordon-like. So he demanded a lot.
All those old timers were like that. Smoke was like that.
But Jeff wouldn't cuss you out. You just didn't know why your locker and your name was gone when you showed up the next day.
So he's just
You know?
passive aggressive.
Yeah, but Kevin is going to let you know.
Yeah, he's vocal.
Well, old Kevin
Old
was
Kevin.
going to let you know.
He's vocal.
Like, you suck, dude, and you better get it together. Why are you out here? You should be packing. This is terrible. you're the worst ever. Like, that's how it would be. You know?
Has that changed, right?
Yes.
A whole lot.
He's mellowed down quite a bit.
And he's
Is
not
that how he got that nickname, Happy Harvick? Or was that other stuff? Because you have to remember, I didn't start watching until 2018, so anything I know from
So I'm
before
not
that
100%
is just...
sure on how the Happy Harvick nickname.
Well, can I not bash Harvick in his last year? I'm not bashing
No, no,
Harvick.
no, no.
Because let me tell you what, he did do something that totally redeemed himself. And I can't remember, it was either 2016. I was pitting for Junior Motorsports, and the driver was Kevin Harvick. And we won that race in Atlanta. And I was upset because I won the race with Kevin Harvick. And, I was like, man, he never, he had that stigma to him. That was my first race with him since, I just rubbed the wrong way from him bad-mouthing crew members. And after we won, and he didn't badmouth us then, and we had a great time on pit road. It was a great race. And, I'm over there on victory lane. He's up there getting ready for the trophy presentation. And I see my grandmother and my auntie. And I'm like, hey, grandma, because Atlanta's my home track.
Yeah.
Kevin sees that. He comes down. He said, hey, Rocko, is like, that's your people? I was like, yeah. He walks over there, gets my grandmother, gets my auntie, brings them up on stage to have them take pictures and trophy before he even does.
Aww.
Totally redeems himself.
Just that little moment for you.
Oh my gosh. And ever since then, I've told him about it like 6, 7 times. I sat next to him and behind him in the airplane today, spoke to him. So, yeah, totally redeemed himself after that, because that was a dope moment. I posted it and everything, but, that was a very defining moment for me. Rest in peace, Grandma. But, he did that at the home track. And I was always deep at the home track. I would have 15, 20.
Well, that's your place.
Yeah, that's the home track.
That's where you got down.
Where's your home track?
I have a home track. I'm from Greensboro.
So you got to say North Carolina.
So North Carolina, Charlotte.
Yeah.
That'd be the closest one, right?
And somehow you still, NASCAR was just not on your radar, even though you were right there?
Zero.
That makes no sense to me. And then
I
you
had
go
zero
back to your
laps
family.
watched before I went to my first race.
Who's he going to root for back then? Who are we rooting for in 98? In 97, who do we gravitate to as black men in Greensboro and Atlanta?
Okay, so not Jeff Gordon.
Well, I knew who Jeff Gordon was.
I'm just saying.
I knew who Smoke was because I watched ESPN SportsCenter every morning.
Okay, well, there you go.
Listen, and they had a fight, and he jacked some dude up after he got wrecked or something. I was like, man, that dude's crazy right there.
And he used to climb the fence?
Yeah. But if it wasn't for SportsCenter, I wouldn't have known that.
Wow, that's crazy to me. It's right in your backyard, and you have no idea it's there.
No idea.
Oh.
I watched zero
We
laps.
used to fight before they started finding us. We used to get on fights in pit road, and then it became like 10, 20K every punch. So then you couldn't throw a punch. You just had to horse collar or choke. And then that became a lot easier because it's easier to get away with a horse collar and just get them on the ground and stick your knee in there.
Oh, my God.
But you're not getting fined 20K because, the owner said they weren't going to pay for that.
And it's all off emotions. You're out there doing your best, and your car's hopefully running good, and then
gets wrecked.
Right, you get wrecked by
somebody got to pay. Somebody got to pay.
Off the track 40 laps ago, and they still out there running around. Ruin your day.
Yeah, for real.
When their car should have been on the truck hours ago.
Gotcha. Well, thanks for those stories.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the 4 that are.
Let's
No.
get back. Championship 4.
We don't have that much time, so I want to be able to talk about the Championship 4. We have Ryan Blaney.
Yep. Most momentum right now.
Christopher Bell.
Youngest, hottest. He's going on. He's trending up.
Kyle Larson.
OG.
He's an OG
vet.
He's an OG.
And William Byron.
He's Mr. Quiet. You don't know which one you're going to get.
6 wins this year.
Right.
So he's like your constant solid,
Yeah, you don't know which one you got, though.
But what's so interesting this season with the Championship 4, we don't see any of our veterans. Denny said it's our year, and then he just looked like a Cowboys fan after.
That's how it's trending.
It's crazy. But something that got brought up today was that there's none of that animosity amongst these 4 drivers. They're all very even keeled. They all get along.
They're all
Christopher
sub-30.
Bell, they just they're nice to each other.
Right.
And I don't know. Personally, I'm a degenerate. There is a part of me that wants to see somebody not wreck, but
I want to see
race
bump and
hard,
grind.
not get retaliation, but I kind of want those bad attitudes.
Well, I think you're going to see a good race because all of them race really well here.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great track for them. This used to be, like, Kyle Larson is really good here. Bell finished in
They're
the
all
top
good
5.
here.
They all are good
Ryan
here.
Blaney has
Top
gone.
5.
He's been runner-up, in the last 2?
Something
Two?
like that.
Two,
Yeah,
three?
two.
Who do
Two
you
races.
like? What are you feeling? How's the race going to play out?
I don't know. And this is the crazy thing. I was able to write an article last year and call Joey the winner before the race had even started. He had been consistent all year long.
Well, there's your first hint right there.
Well,
what team does he drive for?
Penske. So I already, in my heart, I think it could be Ryan Blaney as long as Joey's on that track with him.
And he won the last race. Ryan Blaney
Correct.
did.
So he's got some mojo right now.
And we believe
Yeah.
in momentum. Momentum is so crazy, especially when it peaks at the right time.
And they're peaking.
They're always peaking in the
Yes,
playoffs, and
they're
that's when
peaking.
it's late.
But it's just crazy because you also have Kyle Larson in the mix.
Yep.
He's up for his second championship.
Yep.
Right.
So
But
it's
you look
kind of
at-
hard. Hold on. It's kind of hard to bet against him. So I'm a betting person. I said I'm a degenerate. I live in Las Vegas, so I'm always checking the odds. And it's really hard to not want to bet on Kyle Larson. It's hard to not want to bet on his pit crew who's had it
Listen,
locked in.
Cliff Daniels was methodical. He's methodical.
Yeah.
Right? And when he was a race engineer at Stewart Haas, he was dialed in.
Yeah.
And he just took it to a whole nother level when he went over to Hendricks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to bet against him, isn't
Hard
it?
to
I
bet
was
against
standing
him.
First of
behind
all,
there.
it's Hendrick.
Sorry, I did put an S on it, didn't I?
We're talking about Rick Hendricks. It's
What did he
Hendrick.
say earlier?
We're not even.
Anyways, what's so interesting because I actually enjoy watching Cliff Daniels. Like, if you were at Vegas,
Yeah.
I couldn't really see what was going on with the last couple of laps between him and Christopher Bell because my eyes were fixed on Cliff Daniels and his perfect haircut. Like, it's lined up so perfectly, but all you see, he's so dialed in. There's nothing else going on except for that race, and
All
he's
the time.
following it.
All the time.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know.
Because he's a product. Not only that, you're as good as your teacher as well. He's a prodigy of Chad Knaus there,
Yeah.
So therefore,
And I mean, you still have Chad Knaus up there,
Absolutely.
the director of competition. So it's really hard to bet either against Kyle Larson or even William Byron in that case.
Mm-hmm.
And William Byron's your winner from the spring as well. How many wins does he have? Is it
Six.
six?
He's got
And how many of
6.
them were back to back?
I don't know if there weren't any back to back.
Maybe it was just
maybe
no,
there was
it
one
was
that was
Vegas.
back to back.
Yeah, it was Vegas
maybe
and
there was
Phoenix.
one.
That was it.
Yeah, 2 of them back to back. That was just one race back to back.
I think it's just the Vegas and Phoenix. Mm-hmm. Adam, stat
Yeah.
chat. He knows.
He said it was just one.
Just once. Okay. Oh, I can't see.
But yeah,
I
it's
did
gonna
Cliff
be,
Daniels' turn.
It's going to be good.
It is going to be good. It's going to be
real
ish. So since they're all good here, we already know what the catalyst for them to win. It's going to be on that last pit stop. We call that the money stop.
Yeah.
So I would say I hope these teams get their bad stop out early because it'll be detrimental to your off-season energy, possibly your career, if you mess up the money stop on a championship run.
So you do
No
have to
pressure there.
remember that nobody actually
versus
truly
pipe, so-
messed up last year
Or mixed
on
diamonds.
Christopher Bell.
Excuse me,
It
what'd you
was
say?
that was a fluke for Christopher Bell's team last year. He was up there. He was doing really, really well, and it
You
wasn't
know what
a
it
bad
was?
pit stop.
You know what it was?
Something.
You wanna know what it was?
Someone got yes.
Okay.
I'm like, huh, tell me.
The rear tire changer.
go.
The rear tire changer drew his hand up on the tire, so his glove and his finger got stuck between the caliper and the wheel when he drew his gun on. When he put the nut on, so when he took his gun off, his hand was stuck. So he had to go back and retake the nut off, remove his hand.
So this
then
wasn't a
retighten it.
fluke. This wasn't like a freak accident.
Well, that's a freak.
That's
Well,
a
freak
freak
accident,
'cause
but
that doesn't- yeah.
so that wasn't preventable? 'Cause
No.
the way you said it.
It could have been worse.
True.
He could have been
Yeah.
a lot worse. And that is not preventable because at the end of the day, we are humans performing a human athletic performance. We're not machines. We're not robot, and mistakes are inevitably going to happen. The unrealistic expectations placed on these guys are just so crazy, which is why they need to be applauded for what they're doing. But at the end of the day, they're expected to be perfect as humans. Think about that for a second. I haven't met a perfect human in my life.
Me? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I know I'm not. I'm not. My dad thinks so, right?
Yes, of course. I think that of my dog.
But like you said, it goes back to all those moving parts of the pit stop, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of moving parts, and it's not just about them. It's the behind-the-wall crew. It's when they come down. It's what pit stall you selected here. It's about lots of different
Who
variables.
has a problem?
Oh.
Who's pitting around you, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? If,
So
if the guy's
there's-
pitting in front of you and he pits short, right? So now you're pitting further back in your pit stall,
And he's a hater, so he's not trying to help you.
right? So he's not trying to help you. He's stalling.
You should have qualified on the pole.
I was going to say qualifying plays a huge and important role in this race because you want the first pit stall, right?
Every
And
racetrack
then-
has its good pit stops, right?
Right. Every racetrack
Stalls.
has good pit
Okay,
stalls.
so what's the perfect one here in Phoenix?
Ooh, it
Depends on
Is
who
it-
you ask.
Depends on who
So
you ask.
so wait, does this bring
Ooh.
up the conversation of the
Ooh.
bully box?
Ooh.
But you play your timing lines, right? It's a lot of variables in there,
Okay.
right? So if you not on the pole, what's a good stop for timing lines where I can get in hard and out, right?
Yeah, let's look at my notes on what I thought were the best pit boxes. Let's say, how long ago was this? We will go. All right. This is something I wrote. What year was this? This was
2018.
2021, November 3rd. Pit stall selection can make or break a race. And I will help the crew chiefs out there suggest where they should pick. If you win the pole, pick one, you should take pit box 1. If you pick second, take box number 6. If you pick third, take box 10 or the bully box.
Okay, see, I love
And
when I
if
hear
you
the bully
pick
box.
fourth, take box 16. Those are the boxes with the highest average finishing rate on Phoenix Raceway.
And that comes with empty boxes,
between.
right?
Yes.
In and out, right?
Yeah. And then
Timelines.
there's different variables. Remember, I told you it's positioned on a curve, right? So those boxes are the best to come in and leave where you won't get blocked off. Back in the day, before the reconfiguration, you could cheat code the timing lines there like no other. And you could speed 5-6 miles more than anybody else just because of the box that you had.
Right.
So, I mean, those are the little intricacies of strategy and race that you don't see what goes on. But that'll make or break your race from the even start, you know? So it's not just driving around in circles. You know, at the end of the day, there's a lot of people in the sport that get paid a lot of money to make sure that sponsor stays on television front for 4 hours and wins that race 36 times a year. No other sport like it. America's best kept secret to the black man, and I'll stand on that because I never knew it existed until they started paying me.
I co-sign.
Yep.
I co-sign. 'cause
And this
it's
is
been-
19 years. I ain't missed one yet. I have not missed a race in 19 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's wrapping up 8.
I know you have because there's some times you would take off for your weddings and
Listen,
do all that
man.
family stuff,
Yeah,
sisters,
man. My guy-
sisters, and all of that
my guy
back in
has
the day.
baseball. My little
yeah,
man's a
yeah,
baseball
yeah.
guy.
I was a machine. I said, whatever. I don't want them to see me. You know, I'm trying to win this race, man. You know, this is young, Jeff Gordon days.
But
You know?
I didn't get those luxuries until I got to Stewart Haas.
You
and
just
Hello.
moved to Vegas,
I
dude,
just moved to Vegas.
and started the Brendan Gaughan thing.
Yep.
Yep. And
Can
that's
I just
what really.
wait? So there's something I remember you telling me back in February.
What's that?
When you went to go work for Brendan Gaughan.
Yep.
Did he or did he not get cornrows?
He had cornrows in Dover.
I think who told him to get cornrows?
Well,
Listen, man, he played with some of the best
Yeah,
in
he
his
did.
basketball days.
Yeah, he did. He played with
You
the
know?
Georgetown Hoyas.
Yeah, he was AI's shadow.
Yeah, he was.
His job was to fit
So Brandon's definitely down with the Brown. He's definitely gets his.
He brought me to Vegas.
He's got his
sight
black
unseen,
card.
Right, sight unseen.
He's invited to the cookout, is
He
what you're
is.
saying.
He
Okay.
is.
And he
And
would
he's
eat all the
always been
chicken off the
invited.
chicken wings, right? He don't leave no.
From the first day we met Brandon, I knew that.
Yeah, he's solid.
Yeah, he is.
He's a solid dude.
Is there anybody in the garage today that you'd say the same thing about?
I got a handful of folks that took me under their wings, supported me, brought me through this, helped me navigate this arena, right? I got some people that I really, 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 really trust and believe in on this deal.
I think that's the crazy thing about it. Oh, am I running? Oh.
Right?
I think that's the crazy thing about it because you have to, I don't know, I look at myself and like I said, I didn't start getting into NASCAR until 2018. So it actually just happened by accident.
Right.
I got hired at a job being a waitress on Las Vegas Strip and I wasn't getting priority shifts right away. I was brand new, and they put up a contest on the little cork board, and they said, win VIP tickets to the NASCAR playoffs. First off, I was like, NASCAR playoffs, huh? And then I was like, nobody wants to go to that. I'm not going to watch that. I literally said, we're just going to watch people go really, really fast and then turn left. I'm not hanging out with hillbillies all day. I'm not doing it. But then I was like, okay, let me calm down because I just got hired here and there's no need for me to be talking like that. Right. Like I should be a little more supportive.
But that's the thought process that you have. You don't know. You didn't know until you went.
Yeah. And I'm not the type of person that'll like, I like getting into those things that you don't like normally. I'm an oddball. Like I'll jump right in. And the crazy thing is I ended up winning the tickets because I kept seeing my lucky number on the TV on Friday because I had nothing else to do.
Right.
I won the tickets and I was like, you know what? I can take my uncle because my uncle and my other uncle used to like talk on the phone. One lived in Vegas, one lived in LA. They were on the phone on Sundays watching the races together until one of them died. And I knew that my uncle had kind of missed that connection. I was like, okay, I'll use it and take him. I showed up and I was like, wait a minute. I turned my nose up at this for so long.
Listen, that's the thing. It sucks you in.
So long. And then obviously, like, look at where I am now. This is what, 5 years now?
Everything happens for a reason.
I have family members call me every Sunday. I get a text message before we get on the plane and go home.
Yeah.
About the race.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like clockwork.
Absolutely. And before, they didn't even know. There was about a good 5-year stretch. My family would ask which driver I was working for.
I had that.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's Jeff Gordon.
So get
Jeff
this.
Gordon. Oh, you still with him, baby? I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah, I ain't going nowhere. You know, that's the old, that's the GOAT. Oh, yeah. You know, they just took a while.
It's crazy when you start getting other people involved. Yep. So my brother, he was probably the most stubborn of them all. He's like, I'm not ever going to that. It's a racist sport. The Confederate flag, this was before Bubba brought that back up to have it taken down. Right. He's like, they still allow the Confederate flag, so I'm not going. And that kind of made me feel weird about it. But I was like, really, you have to just come to a race. And he was like, eventually, he started seeing all the stuff that I was doing. And I got him to go to Worldwide Tech. I got him a VIP pass. Yeah, St. Louis, because he lives in Columbia, Missouri.
That track is lit, too, boy.
He loved it. Yeah, and the thing is that the phone call that I got from him was saying, you know what, I really like all the people that you got me connected with because they all speak highly of you. Like, they respect you, they know you. And I'm just like, oh, I'm already choking right now. But
it's a big family
it's very touching when you start bringing other people in. Yep. And so that's what I kind of enjoy about or am inspired by when I decided to come up with this idea to have us all sit here.
Exposure, we got to keep exposing.
Yeah. Exactly, because we need the fans to come. And then when they do come, they need to know what they're looking at. And at the end of the day, you know, once you start understanding what goes on, you're going to enjoy what you're a part of, you know? And then that's the good thing. And what I'm saying is new fans are your best fans. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they would have never known this existed if not for some of the stuff that we're showing them or teaching them.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy that that's what it takes. And like, no commercial's going to get them out there.
It's a lot. This is just a tip. You know, that's just a tip. You know, you got to think. Every single race that we go to throughout the year is the Super Bowl for that city. So, you know, you're there once a year, maybe twice. They wait all year for you to come up. And then when you show up, you put on this 3-4 day party, this 4-day show for them. And you are entertainers. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you know, it is something that I wish I would have tapped into a little bit younger in life, but it's something that I'm definitely introducing to my family and my young ones, you know. So at the same time, you know, it takes what we've gone through and what we're doing now to build it.
Both of you are pioneers in the sport. And I don't know if you see yourselves that way, but
we definitely cleared some roads. Like, I mean, there were some guys before us.
Yes,
cleared the
absolutely.
But the fact that you're there and there's still that longevity there, I think that's the most important thing because it shows that you're passionate about it. Yeah, and that there's a lot of opportunity there that's lasting. It's not like, oh, you can go do this for a couple years and then go work somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Right. No. And at the same time, there's a lot of pressure. You know, we brought in, you know, I feel responsible for over 75 lives in this sport because of me.
Wow.
That's because you're on the recruiting side.
Yes, I know. Like, I convinced them and told them, come do this. Come move to North Carolina from your family and bet on yourself.
Oh, it's so hard
Come
to
do
tell
it.
somebody to move to North Carolina.
Not for me. I say just do it. I was like, you're not going to make the money you're going to do here because there's no way to be a professional athlete in any other capacity but this. And they understand that. I'm not talking about a job in corporate. I'm not talking about a job behind a desk. I'm talking about a job to be a professional athlete, to be the best in the world at something. And that's not for everybody. You know, this is a very unique opportunity for certain individuals. And, you know, some love it, some don't. But that doesn't mean there's other areas here, which I'm so excited about NASCAR, that is not just about the athletic side. You know, there are so many other opportunities.
Right.
STEM,
IT
so
side, marketing,
science, technology,
marketing, you
engineering,
have
all of that.
Logistics, how do you get
logistics.
this stuff going? You know, the track presidents, you know, who are running the racetracks, the marketing campaigns behind all the sponsorship.
Yeah, you have to consider the stuff that they're doing in LA, in my hometown. They took the Coliseum, and I was there when they did the groundbreaking 2 years in a row.
I'm excited about going back there, by the way.
Yeah, I'll be there. We're all going to be there.
And the Grammys are there, too, that week.
Well, okay, so this is my problem with having the Grammys at the same time. I don't know what kind of performers we're going to get.
Yeah, that's true, because they're all busy.
Yeah.
They're all busy. Who did we have last year? Snoop?
No,
Ice Cube?
No, Ice Cube was first.
Wait, yeah, Ice Cube and Pitbull
Wiz
were the first.
Khalifa.
Yeah, Wiz Khalifa. Wait, was there somebody else?
It was a
Wiz
chick.
Khalifa.
Cypress
Cypress Hill.
Yeah. And oh my God. So when that happened, I felt so old.
Imagine how we felt.
Yeah.
For real.
Youngin'.
But here's the thing. I was walking around my job, and I work with like 20-year-olds, you know, 20-something, mid-20s. Right. And I was like, oh, that's so rad. They're going to bring Cypress Hill. And these kids are looking at me like, yeah. And I was like, you've never heard this? Insane in the membrane. I'm like, I love my name is... No.
You should have said jump.
Oh, wait. So, no, that was preschool for me. There's a very embarrassing video of me jumping up and down. Because
you was having the time of your life.
I was raised proper.
I'm thinking Chris Cross.
Yeah, you are. That's why I said that's preschool for me.
I'm East Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, those guys from East Coast.
Man. So I guess the next thing is like, how do we influence the generations behind us? Mm-hmm. And this doesn't just mean for pit crews, but drivers as well. There's very few that I know of.
But it's happening.
It is.
You're getting the minority drivers.
Bubba paved the way. You got Raja in there now. Raja Cruz, I'm excited about him. He's racing here tomorrow.
Yeah, and you also have that's true. Yep. So that's going to be like his audition.
He's
essentially,
racing for
right?
Hendrick.
Yeah, Hendrick. So that's a big deal.
In that 17 car, because you know, Raja, he did really well. He took a mid-pack car and he ran it where it should have ran and overperformed sometimes, you know, and that was awesome. Everybody saw that. He built up his credibility that he can do this, and that landed him an opportunity. And me, knowing Raja the way I know him, you know, he has that demeanor and that personality. It's like he's been here before. His parents are great. They've done a great job with him, He's a professor at Howard. You know, it's just like they have it all together. I'm rooting for them so much, you know, at the same time, you know, it's even behind him, LeVar Scott behind. I think we're doing well.
There are a few. There's Nathan Lyons as well.
Yes,
and this is what I'm really proud of. Yep. Cam Caraway. He's 13, doing late models.
Yeah, Cam is.
He just did the Combine. Yep. I think he's done it, twice in a row now.
Right.
And I mean, he's outperforming people as well, too.
So those stepping stones are somewhat the stepping stones Rocko and I took, right?
Right.
It's a handful of black athletes doing pit stops when we got into the game.
Yeah.
Right? And now the driver pool is starting to grow.
Because it's hard to practice driving, right?
Yeah.
You got to build a race car. You wreck it. You got to fix it, all of that, you know. There's 7 minutes left.
Oh, that's a lot of time, though, actually.
Yeah, so...
What do I have left on here? Sorry, I got into the conversation. And
No, that's good.
I feel like we skipped through. Well, not skipped through, but we covered a lot. That's what makes me think that we...
Remember, this is episode 0.
I know, it is 0.
Once we get this paid, you know, we got...
we'll get it rolling.
I'm thinking a 100-episode season, you know.
The whole lot party during the championship.
Keep my throat lubed up. And
I was worried. I was like, it was making my throat hurt. I was like, dang.
Hey.
It's that dry heat.
You haven't even taken a step.
Dry heat.
I did a big gulp before we started.
So Phoenix is tomorrow.
Yes, starting tomorrow.
What are you looking forward to?
Me? Gosh.
And what can you tell our new fans, something that'll entice them to want to check it out? A new fan.
Oh, Diplo's gonna be there.
Ooh, see?
So I have I don't want
Diplo.
to say I live in Vegas.
So you know Diplo.
He follows me on Twitter.
Ooh.
That's cool.
X follows me on X.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I used to go to his
like
after
that.
parties.
I like that. It's not just country music.
And yeah, he.
At Homestead, they had some good music too.
This is what I like about him. So he goes by the name Thomas Wesley, which is his first and middle name, I believe, for what he's doing on Sunday. And it's a mixture of different genres, including, or his music all along has been mixing of different genres, and that's what I've always liked about him. And I have never, ever, 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 like,
Ever?
I country music makes my ears bleed.
So,
But
listen, that's
but I
one
can
thing
do
you learn
this.
to
I can
to
do
adopt
this.
to
I
is
can embrace
country
this, and I
music.
think this is like a perfect merging.
You'll learn to love it. You got to give it a chance. It took me about 7 years.
This is where
When you go in those
okay.
race shops,
It took me about 7
I
years.
can do a little bit of bluegrass.
You know what I used to do? I just called everybody Kenny Chesney. I did that I did it for about 5 years. They'd be like, I walk into the race shop, and I'd be playing my Gucci Mane or whatever, and I'd be like, hey, they got the country music. Hey, what's this, Kenny Chesney? And I get 4 guys, no, that ain't no Kenny Chesney, that ain't no Kenny Chesney. You don't know nothing. Then I go up to the break room and they got music playing. I'm like, hey, what is this, Kenny Chesney? Man, you don't know nothing. And that became my running joke. I just say Kenny Chesney for everything.
Oh, well, speaking of music, Cap.
Yeah. Cap.
I want to, if we keep this going, which we will, I wanted to get him in here because he's put his entire journey into his music.
Oh, yeah.
Cap does
And
it.
he actually just recorded in Nashville. We were some of the first
Dialed
people to hear.
in.
Yeah.
Undialed in. He sends me all the music first.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Undialed in. Gets my
like-
approval. He like, Rock, what you think of this?
He's
I'm
got
like,
some good- he's
yeah.
got
I
some
feel
good
like
track
Pitbull
hits,
should have
man.
had
He does.
that. Pitbull should have had like a feature of him
My
on
best
that
song
track
is Pit
house.
Road, though. The
Yeah,
Pit
Pit
Road
Road's
song.
good too.
Yeah.
But Dialed In is good. Cap is doing it.
He is.
He's another lifer. He's been there a long
Yeah,
time too.
he's starting to move out of the
Pit side, and now he's working with Trackhouse.
And
doing that.
Trackhouse is doing a lot of
they're
good
doing-
things. That's a new team,
so,
high energy.
Yeah, by the way, I love what they've been doing on social media, including their pit crew in the advertisements and their reels with their sponsorships, because now you're starting to see their faces. I don't care what color they are, black, white, whatever, purple, green, they're in front of the camera, and they're people that I'm just like, well, I seen them, but I'm like, if all these other teams started doing that, like, you'd have a brand new appreciation for these guys.
Why would you not do that? Look what we just said. The best place to pass is not on a racetrack, but on pit road.
Yeah.
So these guys are kind of important to what they're doing here on a daily basis. Why not get to know them? Why not showcase some of these storylines? Why not create content around those guys? Not everybody. Some guys are better at it than others, but hey, there are about 3 guys on each of one of those top cup teams that can be considered the best in the world, and it's kind of cool to watch that. And if we can find a way to...
Are you allowed to say who?
Oh, yeah. On Kyle Larson's team, Brandon Johnson.
Yeah.
Jack Man. Let's say Ryan
We
Blaney.
got Banks out there on the 4.
Playoff drivers. I'm only doing
sorry.
But
I
yeah,
had to
Banks
give
is
my
a
boys a shot.
definitely
Wait a minute, man. I don't know what's
Basically, though, playoff drivers. So my dogs, just if I had to pick one, they all are because they're in the championship 4. All right, so for Brandon Johnson, my guy would be, for Kyle Larson, it would be Brandon Johnson. For Ryan Blaney, it would be Ryan Flores. For Christopher Bell, it's Darrell Edwards. And for William Byron, it's Ryan Patton. And it's a close tie between a.k.a. Tom Brady, Spencer Bishop. The Jack Man played with us at Wake Forest, and he looks identical to Tom Brady. Go look him up. Yes. Gal, look at you sit up. Yes. When you're in Phoenix,
let me say this.
go look up the Jack Man for the 24, and if he's not Tom Brady.
Let me say this. For the women that are out there, okay, I get this question all the time when people they're just finding out that I watch NASCAR. And they're like, oh, because you want to go after the hot drivers. And I'm like, the what?
The drivers.
The who?
Right.
But I'm like, you see all these tight end built guys,
the pit crew guys.
yeah, get carried away by one of them.
those
Not
super
me
athletes right
personally.
there.
Yeah, back in the day,
Not me
we were like
personally,
that.
but I'm just saying that's where all these guys are. And then you mentioned Tom Brady. Where is he?
On the 24 pit crew for William Byron, the Jack Man, Spencer Bishop,
I
a.k.a.
just want
Tom
to look
Brady.
at him.
Yeah, just go say hi. Say, Rocko said, you look like Tom Brady.
Yeah. He's going to put those hoochie daddy shorts on like Paul Swan.
They're wrapping up. Man, episode 0.
Episode 0 in the books. I like it.
Is a wrap.
All right, so that does it on episode 0 of Night Shifters. Thank you guys for helping me out and getting this together. Adam, thank you for everything, guys. Thank you for all your work. Let's do this again. LA, the Clash. Let's do it at the Clash.
Love it.
All right, bye
LA
guys.